Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Basketball Conference, the ACC Football Podcast. My name is Joey Weaver. He is Mike McDaniel. Mike, first question. It's week 12. Where on earth has the time gone here?
Man, I am really disappointed that it's week 12, for being perfectly honest.
It's going so fast here.
It's going it's going real fast. It's really disappointing. We're much closer now to the off season than we were in early September. And I know that seems like a really obvious and stupid statement, but it's like kind of bothering me.
Yeah, time's flown by. It's crazy how quickly this has gone. It's been a whirlwind of a fall. Probably not slowed down at all by the fact that the ACC has been pretty bonkers for most of the year.
Weird year.
Super. Helped. Yeah, weird year. And we say that for the ACC, but I think it's been a weird year in general in college football. So that's part of, I think, what's causing all this. But anyways, Mike, we got week 12 games, last weekend of the year before rivalry weekend of Thanksgiving weekend. So got a few games where we're trying to get some things settled here. Pittsburgh trying to settle the Coastal Division. Virginia trying not to let them settle it. Florida State trying to settle the score with Boston College from last year. But, Mike, we got the biggest game of the weekend at 2:30 p.m. on NBC. The number 12 Syracuse Orange taking on the number 3 Notre Dame Fighting Irish at Yankee Stadium in New York City. The Irish are a 10-point favorite, and they are wearing some god-awful uniforms. And I don't know who okayed this, but somehow they've decided to kind of bastardize the Notre Dame and Yankee uniforms with like some script Yankee stuff and some pinstripes on the pants. And
bastardize, nice.
That's putting it nicely, I think. I mean, the whole thing is a disaster. I don't know who authorized that. Frankly, at this point, Notre Dame, you deserve anything that comes to you. Syracuse, beat that ass. Beat that ass, Syracuse.
Careful. Jesus. Relax.
I'm fired up, Mike. I'm ready to roll.
I was about to say, I don't actually mind the jerseys that much. The helmet's really bothering me, though.
Mm-hmm.
The helmet really bothers me.
Yeah, it's bad.
Now, with that being said, I don't know what kind of helmet would be better. Like, you're not wearing the gold helmet with those uniforms, right? You're not wearing, like, I mean, they got these Shamrock Series helmets from, a while back where they got the gold with the freaking green shamrock, and it's like, it looks like a plastic toy helmet thing, like not a real helmet. And they had those going for a while. I don't know what would make this better. There's no good helmet that would go with this uniform. The one that they have is matte black with an ND logo on a pinstripe sticker on the side of the helmet, which I don't really get that at all. Anyway, Notre Dame does not deserve anything that's coming to them because of the jerseys they're wearing. You take that back. You shut your whore mouth.
I mean, look, they wore the green jerseys last week, and I'm typically a fan of the Notre Dame green jerseys. These were bad green jerseys, Mike.
No, that was Oregon green. I was not
They're
a fan
like lime green. It was bad.
It was like, oh, good. The Ducks are on the field. Great. Where's Willie Taggart? Oh, whoops. Whoops. Yeah.
Shade.
Yeah. His team didn't show up either, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I was not a fan of those green jerseys, but I am a fan of the green jerseys, like the normal ones, and those were not them. So Notre Dame is going with an interesting uniform combination for their second weekend in a row. Joey, Syracuse is number 12 in the college football rankings.
Playoff. How do we feel about that, Mike?
I think they're too high.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a. I'm going to use some harsh language here, Mike, but that is, I think, a little bit of a fraudulent number 12.
Wow, that's strong language. The thing I want to bring to your attention here, and I was tweeting about it. We had some correspondence back and forth, you and I, but we also had some people tweeting at us, and a lot of comments were fair. Some of them were not. But there was one in particular that said, okay, well, who is good? And this is a conversation you and I have had on this podcast. Who is good outside of like the top 10 or the top 7? Like, who's actually good, right? And it's a fair statement, right? But the one comment that we got on social media from Tim Thomas, a guy who I actually do the radio with in Blacksburg, he said, well, after 12, right, there's a whole list of teams from like 12 to 17. They could all make the argument for number 12. Isn't Syracuse the best one out of those like 4 or 5 teams in that group? And I had to pause. I'm not sure what the real answer to that is.
I mean, I'm not so sure, frankly. And I put up a tweet on Tuesday, and I thought it was going to generate a lot more controversy than it did. But you got Syracuse at 12. You've got them ranked against the following teams, Mike. You get Syracuse ranked ahead of Florida, Penn State, Texas, Iowa State, Kentucky, Washington, Utah, Boston College, Mississippi State. I could make a very easy argument that despite the fact that Syracuse is 8-2, they should not be ranked above any of those teams. Syracuse is like, I'm okay calling them a top 25 team. I'm not okay calling them a top 15 team. Like the track record there for Syracuse is just not sufficient to call them that. At the end of the day, I mean, we've said that their best win is a home win against NC State. And then after that, I guess it's a home win against Florida State. And I mean, that's how far you start dropping off. They've got wins against Louisville, Wake Forest, NC State, North Carolina, UConn, Florida State, Wagner, and Western Michigan. I mean, Florida State is legitimately their second best win of their 8. And that's a Florida State team that's not going to be bowl eligible this year. So at that point, how is this team number 12 in the country? And now Syracuse, put it this way, they totally have the opportunity to prove this ranking and to prove themselves. Last 2 games, Notre Dame at a neutral site, at Boston College. Win one or both of those, I feel a hell of a lot better about 12 than I do right now, where their best win is NC State. Next best one is what, Florida State?
Yep.
Like at this point, I think NC State's the only bowl eligible team they've beaten. Think about that.
Do you think they're only number 12 because they have 2 losses and teams behind them have 3? Like, is that the reasoning we're using?
I think people are looking at the record saying 8-2. Wow, they might be the second best 8-2 team in the country. LSU's 8-2, and they're probably better. But other than that, probably Syracuse. Like, really, is that it? It's not a very deep argument in my mind.
Right. Well, I agree with you. I don't think they should be number 12. But I don't really have a great argument for the teams behind them either. Like, I guess Florida. Kentucky looks fraudulent. Mississippi State, just got good the last 3 weeks. And they just lost a tough game to Alabama last Saturday, but they just got recently good. They were struggling for a while. Like a lot of these teams that are in that neighborhood, you said Washington. I don't have the rankings in front of me. Washington, Penn State. I mean, Penn State's been up and down all year. It's just, I don't know. I just don't know, right? Like, I've had this issue with the ACC all year, but then I look at college football and I just don't know how good Penn State is. I don't know how good Washington is. I have a pretty good handle on Florida. I watched that Florida-South Carolina game, and Florida fell behind for a while, and then Felipe Franks led them back somehow. I mean, it was, I don't know, Joey. It's been that kind of college football season, and maybe the committee doesn't know either. But I think for now, the reason why Syracuse is number 12 and these other teams aren't is because Syracuse only has 2 losses. I think that's the criteria right now. Plus, their offense is exciting, and they score 50 points a game. I'm not saying that this is a good way to do it. I'm just saying that's my rationale for why they're number 12. With all of that being said, back to the game this Saturday.
Oh, yeah, this game.
Yeah, this game against Notre Dame, who probably deserves their number 3 ranking from what I've seen with Ian Book. I like Notre Dame here large, and that's unpopular because a lot of people are saying, okay, well, and rightfully so. Syracuse's offense are scoring on everybody. Notre Dame's defense is going to have a rough time. Syracuse put up a fight against Clemson. All that really good stuff. Notre Dame's got a really good front 7. This is the best front 7 Syracuse has faced since they played Clemson. Notre Dame's front 7, I think, can wreak havoc against that offensive line. I think Syracuse's offense will score, but I think that there will be the path for Syracuse scoring is much more difficult, in my opinion, than the path for Notre Dame to put up points in this football game. And at the end of the day, I think that's enough. I think Notre Dame can score on Syracuse's defense more than Syracuse can score on Notre Dame's defense. And that's why I like Notre Dame here. I think they cover 10, and 10's a big number. I think they are going to be able to cover 10. Syracuse has not played a team like Notre Dame, I'd argue, actually all year, because the team they played against in Death Valley when they played Clemson, really without Trevor Lawrence the entire game. Kelly Bryant was no longer on the roster. He had announced that he was going to transfer a handful of days before that. And they were facing off against Clemson's third-string quarterback at the time, right? So this is the toughest team that Syracuse has played all year, in my opinion. You have Notre Dame at full strength. Ian Book looks like he's going to be full go this Saturday. That's a big deal. I like Notre Dame to win this game by 14 to 17 points. I don't think it's as competitive as a lot of people think it will be.
One of the things I was going to mention, Mike, and you were talking about some teams kind of ranked behind Syracuse, is if you look at Iowa State from the point that they changed quarterbacks to Brock Purdy, man, they have been drilling people, and they've won every game.
And I love Matt Campbell.
Yeah, they've been really, really good. And the only reason I bring that up now that we are back on topic talking about this game is that it's kind of the same thing with Notre Dame. Notre Dame won the first 3 games of the year, switched from Brandon Wimbush to Ian Book as the full-time starter, and they all of a sudden started drilling people. The only game that they've won by less than double digits in that time frame was against, weirdly, Pittsburgh. But other than that, with Ian Book at quarterback, they've played a whole bunch of games, and they've won all of them by double digits, with the exception of that one game. So, like Notre Dame, the fact that they've been doing this all year long is very comforting to me. Now, Mike, there's 2 things that give me pause here. Number one, this is the toughest game left on Notre Dame's schedule. And number 2, weirdly, it's also a look-ahead game because Syracuse definitely the tougher opponent, but next week is the rivalry game against USC, and it's only appropriate in 2018 that Syracuse is the tougher opponent for Notre Dame than USC is, but that's where we're at this point.
Right.
Even still, I think I'm with you. I think Syracuse and what I said about them having a bit of a fraudulent 8-2 record. I mean, having 2 losses through 10 games sounds really good, but when you look at the content of those wins, I just can't trust Syracuse against this Notre Dame team that can beat you in so many ways offensively and has the defense that can hold up most anybody. We kind of thought Florida State might be able to score a little bit last week. They scored 13 points. You know, like Notre Dame's defense is probably the thing that we don't talk enough about. We talk about the quarterback change and, you know, Dexter Williams and all this stuff that they throw at you on offense. Their defense has been dominant all year. And I expect that to continue. I'm with you, Mike. Give me Notre Dame minus the 10. I think they beat Syracuse by 14 to 17. I don't think this gets totally out of hand.
No.
I think Syracuse will be able to score with them. And we saw this game, what was it, 2 years ago, that it was like 28-28 in the first quarter or something silly. I mean,
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there at MetLife Stadium. That was a treat.
Yeah. This game can turn into a track meet in a lot of ways, but I don't really think it will, or I don't think it's going to phase Notre Dame. So I'm with you, Mike. Let's lay the 10 with Notre Dame, and we will move on here. 3:30 p.m. on ESPN2, the number 20 Boston College Eagles, a 1.5-point favorite on the road in Tallahassee against the Florida State Seminoles. Mike, look, 1.5 points, Boston College, arguably the second or third best team in the Atlantic, going to Florida State, been bad all year. None of this matches up well for Florida State, except this is a get-back game.
It is. It is a big-time get-back game.
This is the game where the whole thing went to hell for the Seminoles last year. It was like, I think it was on a Friday night, maybe a Thursday. Florida State was favored on the road, and Boston College beat them like 35-3. Man, you got to think Willie Taggart's been showing that film all week, and the Noles are going to try to get one back here. That's the biggest thing I'm so concerned about, as bad as they've been all year.
It's a get-back game. I told you before we hit record, this is going to be my pick of the week, Joey. I'm locking up Boston College minus 1.5. Now,
you don't give a damn.
I don't give a damn. I'm just going to lock it up right now without even getting into the game. Lock it up for BC. This is a very strange line, and I think it's a strange line because it's a get-back game. With that being said, Florida State doesn't have the ability this year to get back at anybody, right? I mean, getting back at Boston College, in my opinion, would be beating them by a couple touchdowns. Don't see it. Beating them by a field goal, 12-9, is not getting back at BC. Like, congratulations on your quote unquote upset, right? That's not getting back. Getting back would be smoking Boston College, blowing them out of the stadium. That's getting him back. That's not going to happen. I don't really understand why this is only 1.5 points. Some of it might have to do with Anthony Brown's status potentially being up in the air. Some of it might have to do with BC coming off of a smash mouth game against Clemson. But then again, you look to the other side, and Florida State was in a fight, I quote unquote fight with Notre Dame for last week. I call it a fight because, they got run over, and that was a very physical game as well. But look, BC's been the better team all year. Nothing in the ACC makes sense. So if Florida State comes out on Saturday and wins this game by a touchdown or two, nothing surprises me this year. And that certainly won't. I just don't think it'll happen. BC's been the better team all year. They're the best running back in the conference in A.J. Dillon. Anthony Brown, if he plays, he'll be a difference maker for Boston College. And I like BC's defense matching up against this Florida State offense. We thought Florida State, like you mentioned, Florida State would score some against Notre Dame last weekend. They weren't really able to do so. DeAndre Francois, I think he's been fine. He's getting some heat for his play, which I don't think is completely warranted given the dumpster fire at offensive line. And this is their 11th game of the year this Saturday, and Florida State hasn't had an offensive line consistently like all year long.
I was going to say, it's weird. It's like it's hard to play quarterback when you're not getting any protection.
Yeah, imagine that. And they haven't had consistent offensive line play or even the same consistent people on the offensive line all year long. And that has contributed to many issues of the offense, which we'll get into at a later time. But give me BC here, Joey. I just don't see the path here for Florida State. I get there at home, but I'm going to go with my gut here. My gut says BC, and they've just been the better team all year, so you might as well ride with them.
Mike, I'm going to do something irresponsible here.
Yeah, you are.
Give me Florida State in the 1.5.
Jeez.
I think the Noles win this game.
Sure. Why not?
I mean, look, we talk about a league that we can't really predict and something weird's going to happen. This is a bit of a weird line. We don't know if Boston College is going to get Anthony Brown back or not, or kind of how that whole thing is going. Florida State, get-back game. Not to mention Boston College on the road this year. 7-point win at Wake. 17-point loss to Purdue, 5-point loss at NC State, 10-point win against Virginia Tech. Like, in a lot of ways, they have not been great on the road. Now they're coming off of a Clemson loss, that was pretty crushing. I mean, it was an emotional game, college game day, and the whole thing, and then just immediately Clemson just sat on them from the start.
Sat on them is the correct term. Yes.
Yeah. Clemson's like, you're trying to create an uprising and ruin our playoff chances. That's cute. You can't score now. You got the white kid in the hoodie running touchdowns, punt return touchdown back, and that's the best they got. But
true go ACC fashion, by the way.
That's right. Florida State's lost 3 in a row by large margins, and they're only a 1.5-point favorite here, or a 1.5-point dog. Something kind of stinks. I'm just going to take the Noles plus the 1.5. I'm going to take them outright, say they win the game, and get one here. The other part of this that doesn't make a damn bit of sense, and that I'm probably ignoring a little too much, is this is also a bit of a look-ahead game for Florida State with Florida coming up next.
Florida is going to rip them a new one in 2 weeks. Rip them a new one.
I realize that Boston College's defense is plenty good enough to, abuse Florida State's offensive line issues and the whole thing. Florida State at 4-6, I think they're going to be desperate, trying to get to bowl eligibility and the whole thing. I don't know. Yeah, give me the Noles. I don't have a great reason why, but I'm just feeling saucy, Mike. I'm feeling saucy. That's all it is. That's all I got.
Why not? Okay.
Why the hell not? Let's move on. 3:30 p.m. on the ACC Network Extra. I'm going to be here, Mike. Virginia in Atlanta taking on my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. It's senior day in Atlanta. The Jackets a 5.5-point favorite, which I just got to tell you, Mike, it feels like they're getting a little big for their britches after a couple of weeks of winning. Virginia's only lost, 2 games in conference this year, and now they're a 5.5-point dog. Georgia Tech looked good lately. I think I have a bit of a I don't know if this is like a Stockholm syndrome kind of relationship with them, but it's like there's nothing at this point that Georgia Tech can do that's going to make me trust them, Mike. It's probably not right. I probably need to be a more trusting person, but I'm just nervous about it. That's all.
Try being a Virginia Tech fan, asshole.
Tell me about how much worse this season has been than the last 20 years, Mike. Tell me.
Good God.
You get 20 years, you get one bad year. That's fine.
I know.
You'll make it.
Oh, maybe. This is a weird line. I don't know how I feel about this. So Virginia, on one hand, I look at Virginia last weekend and they kind of struggle against Liberty. On the other hand, I look at Georgia Tech and they are on absolute fire and they're playing at home. With that being said, Virginia's been pretty good all year. They've been pretty solid. There hasn't been any consistency throughout the entire ACC except for Virginia. They've been pretty consistent all year. They're winning games they're supposed to win. They're beating teams who are about on the same level as them. We didn't see it coming with UVA. We can say that, but they've been pretty consistent all year long. Their defense has been good. That's been the steadying force behind their success this year. The defense has been good. Bryce Perkins has been okay. We've talked about this several times. They get the ball to 4 guys on offense. It's Zacchaeus, Jordan Ellis, Perkins keeps it, name another guy. And those are the 4 guys they give the ball to. And if you shut down those 4 guys, you have a pretty good chance of winning. Georgia Tech's defense at the beginning of the year was not great. Their defense the last month, pretty damn good. They've been a lot better. Much improved.
Yes, they have.
Much improved. Because of that, Joey, I'm going to go with Georgia Tech to win and cover the 5.5. I do not feel great about it, though. I think Virginia can easily go in to Atlanta, win this football game. Easily. Nothing would surprise me. The season's been too weird. I'm just going to go with my gut. What I saw last weekend out of Virginia scared me a little bit because Liberty, while they got 4 wins in their first FBS season, good for you. I just don't think they're that great of a program, right? And Virginia should be beating them by multiple touchdowns and making it look easy, given what Virginia has done all year long. That's what we expected last Saturday. Didn't happen. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech's beating the hell out of everybody they play right now. They're coming off of a big win against Miami, especially considering what happened last year in that game. Give me Georgia Tech, senior day. They're at home. I'll take them to win, and like I said, I'll take them to cover, but I'd probably just bet the money line and feel fine with it because I don't know about this line, Joey, truthfully, with my wallet.
Here's the weird thing, Mike, is that Georgia Tech beat Miami last week by 6 points. They've played 10 games this year. That's only the second game they've had of the 10 that was decided by single digits. Every single game, they have either beat the tar out of the other team or kind of gotten the tar beat out of them in some way. They played a 24-19, 5-point game against Pittsburgh. But other than that, every game has been decided by a whole bunch of points. And so if you get all these single-digit spreads, you basically might as well just pick the winner because either they're going to get run over or they're going to run over who they play. I don't know if that's a meaningful stat at this point or if you can judge or base anything on that, but it's kind of a weird quirk in what this season has been for Georgia Tech. I look at this and I feel like I've had some luck, at least call it some real life results luck picking the other team. I'm just going to keep riding that train. I'm going to not trust my Georgia Tech team. I'm going to take Virginia plus the 5.5. I'm tempted to say Georgia Tech wins outright and just kind of a 3 or 4 point kind of game. This was a squeaker last year. Virginia with a touchdown with about a minute and a half left. This is one of 4 or 5 games that Georgia Tech gave away at the end. Virginia wins 40-36 on an Andre Lavrone 27-yard touchdown pass with a minute and 22 left. I I think Georgia Tech wants to kind of pay that favor back. But I've heard a lot of chatter too about Bryce Perkins and some concerns about how they're going to contain him. I'm just going to take the 5.5 and hope for the best here, Mike.
You sicken me.
I'm just look. Virginia too. There's some chatter that they might be scoreboard watching, and we got to talk about another game here in a couple of minutes between your good friends, the Pitt Panthers, and our Wake Forest Steaming Deacons. Virginia's going to be watching the scoreboard in that game, and especially if Pitt comes out losers, they're going to be extra motivated. Although if they come out winners, they might be less motivated. So who the hell knows at this point? I don't know. I'm going to take Virginia plus the 5.5 and know that at least something good is going to happen for me on Saturday, whether that's me cashing my over 6 ticket or me getting this pick right. Nice consolation prize, right?
It's almost the same thing.
And especially if they win by like 3, I hit the middle and I win both of them, and it's just a good day, Mike.
And that's a good day, and you're probably drunk.
It's a real good. Oh, that's regardless of any other piece of this. That's an independent factor.
Correct.
All right, I'm taking Virginia in the 5.5. You're laying the 5.5 with my Yellow Jackets. 3:30 p.m. on ESPN, Mike. The Miami Hurricanes, a 6-point favorite on the road in Blacksburg at your Virginia Tech Hokies. Are you driving your ass to Blacksburg and going to be in the stands to witness this game?
Nope.
Okay, that's probably smart.
Was going to, and nope.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm going to Florida instead. It had to be done. I've suffered through too many games, both in person and on my couch this year.
You're just heading for the hills. You're taking off, going to West Palm, and just screw it. Forget it. I'm out.
Yeah. I'm out of here. And if I went to the wrong stadium and happened to be in Hard Rock, it's probably more fans than they've had there in quite some time. Miami is a 6-point favorite. Can they even score 6 points? I don't. Miami wins and covers because Virginia Tech is an atrocious football team. Take the under here. The over-under is 51.5, and I get we're going to bank on like Virginia Tech's defense not playing well against Miami, which is, fine with me. They've been terrible, but Miami's a little shaky at quarterback. I don't know how much they actually score. And then on the flip side, Miami's been a little bit shaky on defense, but Virginia Tech's been real shaky on offense. That seems like an under for me at 51.5. Seems like an under. And it's going to be like in the 40s in Blacksburg. They're coming from Miami to play there. I'm going to take the under and take the Hurricanes to win and cover. Hokies. God, congrats on your bowl streak. It's done. It's over.
I wonder a little bit about the motivation factor for Miami here. They're 5-5, so you're playing for a bowl game, right? But I wonder how much the team has kind of seen the season going down the tubes and whether they would admit it to others or just themselves or at all, if they're just kind of a little bit, lackadaisical at this point of we were like a top 10 team to start the year, and now we're going to finish unranked and fighting to get to Shreveport to go to the Independence Bowl or something like that. Going up to Blacksburg, it's going to be chilly. If I have like any faith in Virginia Tech's defense at this point, I would be taking the Hokies here. But if there's the single thing that I trust in this game more than anything is Miami's defense.
And that's even a funny thing because they haven't been particularly good, but they're probably the best unit in this game. Is that scary?
They haven't been impenetrable, but they haven't been bad either. They've been probably above average, but it's like I don't want to lay 6 points with Miami on the road, but I also don't think I can bet on Virginia Tech to cover here
or
win outright.
Anything.
It's so hard to trust them. Let's go look at – give me just a second. I'm going to look at what Virginia Tech has done the last few weeks against the spread and see if that helps me. And I apologize if I'm really lingering on this game too much for you, Mike.
I know. I don't care at this point. my life is over. Virginia Tech, that was dramatic. I'm sorry. Virginia Tech, I mean, first of all, they get a full week. This is important to note. They get a full week for Thanksgiving. The students, full week off. Ordinarily, I think a lot of people would stay. A lot of students. Virginia Tech has 4 wins, so I'm not sure that the students are going to hang around this Saturday, Joey. I'm just not sure of it. And Miami hasn't been very good either. And it makes me question how ready the players are going to be when there are only like 25 or 30,000 people jumping to enter Sandman rather than 65,000 and having a game that's meaningful. Really makes me wonder, but we'll see.
Mike, I've got a betting trend for you that is really obnoxious. God. Can I tell you something that's really obnoxious? Virginia Tech, the last 5 games, has not covered the spread. They're 0-5. They've lost 5 in a row against the spread. You know who else has lost 5 in a row against the spread?
The Miami Hurricanes.
That would be the Miami Hurricanes, Mike.
Okay.
The stoppable force hits the movable object, and I don't know which team to go with here.
Well, you know what, Joey? You know what this calls for?
Take the points?
It calls for a Siri coin flip.
Oh, God, you're right.
That's what it calls for. It calls for a Siri coin flip.
I'll be damned, Mike.
H stands for Hokies. It also stands for heads.
Okay.
Oh, damn it. The Hurricanes are also beat with H. God damn it.
H for Hurricanes, T for Tech?
Yes, that's what we're going to have to go with.
All right, here we go. Flip a coin.
Here's Daria.
Damn it. That's not. No. Flip a coin.
Perhaps.
Whatever. Virginia Tech plus the 6. I'm going Hokies.
Yeah, I'm taking Siri to cover the spread against Joey.
Siri is in timeout right now. This is not. It's not going great, Mike. It's not going great.
Train wreck. I love it.
What the hell? Let's move on. Pittsburgh -7 on the road at Wake Forest at noon on the ACC network. Are we feeling a little saucy here, Mike? Because I'm a little bit tempted to take the Deeks plus the 7 and just not trust Pitt on the road here.
Nah, lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice. Is that the saying?
You're taking a lot of favorites here, Mike. Taking a lot of favorites. Can you be tempted to lay some or take some points?
Joey, got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the 2 of us, which one's on a heater? Pitt, baby.
Touche.
Pitt wins. Yeah, Pitt wins. Pitt wins. They run all over Wake Forest. I don't think Wake Forest can replicate what they did last weekend for the 2nd straight week. But it would be very like the ACC this year for them to do so with Jamie Newman, who I like, by the way, played pretty well last weekend. So, I don't know. I like Wake, but not enough to beat Pitt. Pitt's on fire right now. I think it continues on the road here.
It really would be a lot like the ACC, wouldn't it, Mike?
It would. You're going to take Wake, aren't you?
I think I might take Wake. I've taken the points the last 3 games. I think I might just keep doing it. We might just go head-to-head right here. You taking favorites, me taking points.
Okay.
What the hell? I'm riding with you, Steam and Deeks.
I'm really pumped for you to take Western Carolina to beat UNC later.
I'm getting 31 in that game.
You are getting 31. A lot of points.
That's a boatload of points.
Who you got in that one? Do you want to just jump to that right now?
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, North Carolina, 31-point home favorite against the Western Carolina Catamounts. Is that
nice.
What they are?
Well done. Yes.
Ooh. That's your boy right there. Got it. No, I'm taking North Carolina.
Do you think Cade Fortin plays there?
Is he healthy? Is he all in one piece?
He's healthy and all in one piece, but if he plays, I believe that's his does that break his red shirt? I think that might be it.
Feels a little bit like a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. I don't think they need him to cover 31.
No, I don't think they should play him. You got to keep his shirt on.
Yeah, I think Nathan Elliott's covering 31 there.
Yeah, got to keep the red shirt on, to be clear. Got to keep his shirt on. Sounded way too sexual for this podcast.
Disagree.
Okay, well then. Take your shirt off then. Let's get some Cade Fortin action here.
We've waited till late in the night on a Thursday, Mike. This is I think this is outside of the FCC jurisdiction here, so we can speak freely.
Yes, except I'm recording this on my work laptop. But besides that, everything's totally in bounds. We got good ACC after dark action here.
There you go. All right. Yeah, North Carolina minus the 31. What the hell? My one little bit of analysis on this, Mike, and I told you this before we came on. I would be a lot more willing to take Western Carolina with the 31 if North Carolina was like 3-6, right? If they were, kind of ho-hum, maybe hoping they fall into a bowl game at 5-6 or something like that. But the fact that North Carolina hasn't won a football game in like a month and a half, I think they're going to get the chance to win this game and just really exercise some frustration. I think they are going to kick the crap out of the Catamounts, as it were. So give me North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
There you go. All right, Mike, let's go back to not taking points. The Duke Blue Devils are in Death Valley against the number 2 Clemson Tigers at 7 o'clock on ESPN. And the Tigers are laying – Mike, how many points would Clemson have to be laying here for you not to take the points or not to lay those points?
39.5.
Yeah, it's 28.5. So you're laying them?
Oh, yeah. Lay it, baby. Clemson.
Yep. Duke has been like so hot and cold this year. You get that feeling like you can't really trust that they're going to show up and be one team or the other. Like sometimes they're giving teams hell, and other times they look like they're just a total fraud and like they just kind of look like crap on any given week.
Right, and Daniel Jones was really good last week, so he's due to suck this week.
That's a good point.
That's kind of his thing.
It's just science.
Have anything else to say about this, really? I mean, Clemson's much better.
Given 4 touchdowns. By the way, the line's down to 28. So we could – I filled out the spreadsheet earlier. It was at 28.5. Now it's down to 28. You might want to keep the hook there if you want it. You probably don't need it.
Not even a little worried about it.
Duke is, let's say, what is this, 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 games? That's not great.
Yeah, it's bad, and they're going to be 2-6 in their last 8 because Clemson is going to blow the doors off of them.
Clemson's covered in 6 of their last 7. So, yeah. This is one of those, Mike, where the phrasing that I've heard a lot in the last couple of weeks, people talking about Clemson and Alabama and some of these teams that are just totally brutalizing other teams. Don't get in the way of the train. Don't get cute and start trying to take the points against a team that's been steamrolling everybody. Just go with it, or
but if you're
just stand by and watch, or that's the other option.
Yes, and Clemson got in the way of a train last week and ended up working out for them, so nothing can kill them. They ran over the D train. Poor guy.
That's right.
But don't get in the way of Clemson's train because they will demolish you.
Absolutely not.
Sorry, Duke.
Yeah, regrettably. Last one, Mike. Wasn't really intended to be the last one, but now it is. All right, so look. NC State's laying 16.5 on the road because they're taking on the Louisville Cardinals at 12:20 p.m. on the ACC Network Extra. The big question here, Mike, so Louisville has not covered in like a decade now, and NC State going on the road, the question here, does Louisville get the no longer Bobby bump? Or what I've referred to, I believe, before as the bye-bye Bobby bump.
Yeah, I think they do, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. And NC State's not that good, right? "Quote unquote" good. I mean, are they? We still don't really know. They lost to a backup quarterback at home last Thursday night, and that was just a piss poor effort. Feel like NC State's going to get right here, and Louisville's very bad, and NC State has Ryan Finley. And I've been saying that when I've been picking NC State all year. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? Like, they have Ryan Finley. He'll be all right.
NC State can still finish 9-3. Weekly reminder.
Yep. Shout out Tax Slayer Bowl.
Would be 10-2 if not for the damn Steamin' Deeks. And I say damn as an NC State fan. I'm not that. So our Steamin' Deeks did that. Yeah. So the thing is, Mike, that as much as Petrino is not there anymore, They're also now missing like 3 of the 9 assistant coaches on staff that were fired along with him. So you're missing your head coach and 3 of you just lost like 40% of your primary coaching staff. And now you're one of your most senior leaders is now Brian Van Gorder, and that just hasn't been going good. Louisville's only covered 1 spread all year, by the way. Yeah, lay the 16.5 with NC State, Mike. And frankly, the fade Louisville train has been a profitable one this year. I'm making that my pick of the week. Lock that baby up. NC State minus the 16.5. It ain't matter.
Bold.
Lay the points. Just
not really that bold.
Fade Louisville. Even at home. I don't even know if this is senior day. I think this is technically a look-ahead spot for Louisville, who's got Kentucky next week. Yeah.
But it's not even like look ahead to Kentucky. It's look ahead. We're almost done with the season. Look ahead to vacation for the coaching staff. Also look ahead for like new jobs. And then for the players, it's look ahead to
not having to go to practice for a while and
like
transferring to another program.
Yeah, a lot of them are doing that. Yeah.
Mike, can I give you a quick Jeff Brohm update?
Give me a Jeff Brohm update.
Hot off the presses. Purdue coach Jeff Brohm today called a report that he's taking the Louisville job. What's that?
Oh, I didn't say anything. Continue.
All right, so look. Purdue coach Jeff Brohm today called a report that he's taking the Louisville job, quote, completely false and complete speculation, unquote. Brohm addressed the situation with players after practice and, quote, put it to bed because we have a lot of things to concentrate on, end quote. Brohm said he has an open-door policy if any want to discuss the things they're hearing about him.
I have a question.
Yes, Michael.
Or more, it's more of a statement. It's all speculation, Joey. For now. And I'm done.
Yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said. It's speculation for now until it becomes
fact.
Until it becomes unfake news.
It was all speculation for Tom Herman in Houston too. Remember how emphatic he was? Oh, no, I intend on being here.
You want to talk about speculation? Can we talk about Scott Frost going to Nebraska?
Oh, that was a fun one too.
It was just speculation.
Just speculation. Yeah, Tom Herman saying in the final regular season game of the year, I intend to be here. Like he intended to be at Houston. What he left out was, I intend to be here today, because the next day he accepted the Texas job. So, scumbag.
I mean,
kinda.
Probably, but
yeah.
Also kind of is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, it is what it is. He's just trying to better himself.
Hang on, Louisville. The prodigal son's coming home. Not really. I mean, he hadn't really wronged anybody, so he's not really the prodigal son. But
and his name's Bobby Petrino.
Bobby Petrino, round 3, Tokyo Drift.
And his name's Charlie Strong.
Oh man,
there are a lot of layers. By the way, I won't disclose them on this podcast, but there are a couple different reasons why Charlie Strong will not be making a return trip to Louisville. And all you need to do is hit up the Google machine to figure out why.
Yeah.
There's a couple different things at work there.
It's kind of funny because a lot of people kind of forget about that stuff. And for those unaware who are just don't have any idea what we're talking about, let's just say that there's some very, very personal involvement that Charlie Strong had with either members of the Louisville board and or direct family members of the Louisville board of directors and the whole thing. And there's not a chance in hell he's getting hired back at Louisville. As much as me as a Louisville fan enjoyed watching him coach there and would absolutely have him back, that's a waste of my energy at this point if I think he's getting called back.
Yep.
No way. The good news, though, Mike, whoever the next head coach of Louisville is, it won't be Steve Cragthorpe.
It will not. It will not be Steve Cragthorpe. Correct.
It won't be Steve Cragthorpe. That's for sure. So no worries there. Mike, that's all I got. Picks of the week. I got NC State minus the 16.5. You got Boston College minus the 1.5. I think you have the most responsible pick, and I picked against it, so that's fine. Otherwise, should be a very interesting week as we start closing up shop here in the old ACC regular season.
Gross.
Well, I do look forward to coming back and recapping these games. Do you have anything else before we get out of here?
No. Well, yes. Don't bet on a lot of these this weekend, except for Clemson. Always bet Clemson. ABC, maybe ABC. But besides that, don't bet on a lot of these.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't feel great about many of these. I look at the totals. Syracuse-Notre Dame 65, Boston College, Florida State 49, Virginia, Georgia Tech 53.5, Miami, Virginia Tech 51.5, Pitt, Wake Forest 60.5, Duke, Clemson 57.5. Maybe go over that one, over 57.5, Duke, Clemson.
You always bet the over, and you always bet on Clemson. It's profitable, trust me.
Clemson's going to come up. I mean, Duke's going to find a way to come up with like 17 points in that game. Yeah, 45-17 sounds kind of right. That's going to go a little bit over.
Clemson could score 57.
They could. They can pretty much name their score in that game. I mean, in a lot of these games at this point. NC State Louisville 63.5. Maybe go over that. Louisville's defense has continued to be an atrocity. NC State can score. Louisville sometimes can score. 63.5 seems kind of low, maybe. I don't know. That's best I got. Otherwise, just, yeah, I'm with you, Mike. Good advice. Don't bet these games.
Yep.
These are bad games to try and bet. All right. Let's get out of here. I got to go to Atlanta and check out these this Atlanta, It's been like a year since I've been there, Mike, by the way. So I'm going to the Georgia Tech Senior Day game against Virginia. You are going to what? West Boca Raton?
No, Melbourne,
Florida.
Florida, southeast Orlando, or Australia. Yeah.
Well, enjoy. Are you going to do any fishing down there, or just lay on the beach, or how's this working?
Lay on the beach, golf, and drink alcohol. It's gonna be tough.
Proud of you, like a real adult.
Yep, like a real adult.
All right, I'm going to go check out Atlanta for the first time in like a year, and I'll report back. But in any case, we're going to come back and recap these games either Sunday evening, maybe Monday evening. We'll have to see. In the meantime, you guys can find us on Twitter. I'm at FTRS Joey. He's at Mike McDaniel CFB, and together we're at BC Podcast ACC. Y'all can send us an email with your questions, comments, concerns to the longest email address known to man, basketballconferencepodcast@gmail.com.
Nailed it.
Yes, sir. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, the Overcast app, wherever fine podcasts are sold for free. And Mike, you want to hit them with where they can find us on the social medias?
Facebook.com/basketballconference. Rate, review, find all of our podcasts there. Rate and review us on iTunes and Google Play and everywhere else. Make sure to do that.
Yes, please do. We appreciate those who have. And by the way, you can also find us on YouTube if you want to come check out videos of us talking into microphones. I think we're pretty good looking, so
I would agree.
More for you.
Hell yeah.
Mike, that's all I got. Have a safe trip to Florida, and we'll talk at the end of the weekend.
Likewise, man. Enjoy Atlanta. Come back alive.
I'm going to try to do that. Cool. I will. I'll throw some nice words of endearment at your boy Bronco and Bryce and them boys while I'm there.
Yep. Love you, VA. Love them.
That's right. I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. We'll talk on Sunday or Monday.
Sounds good.
All right. Until next time, for Mr. Mike McDaniel, I'm Joey Weaver. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk to you again soon. And until next time, go ACC.